And tomorrow is general election day, and there are many important local races on the ballot. Lisa Sugart gives us a preview.
I'm pleased to be joined by our SSPTV political analyst, Rick Morelli, who will be one of the panel members as part of our election night coverage. Rick, you're here to talk about some big races coming up. It's not a presidential year, but it's a big year locally for this election. I guess starting in the city of Hazleton, an important race for sure with city council.
Yeah, these are important races because they're local races and they affect what's going around here locally. Now, with that said, we're not going to expect a big turnout like we saw with the presidential election, unfortunately. But the main race that I think a lot of people are going to be focusing on is the city of Hazleton, the council race there. We have a number of candidates on both the Republican ticket, the Democratic ticket. We have incumbents versus some new faces out there. And with everything going on with the city of Hazleton and the controversies and everything in the paper, I think that's going to be the most heated race and the race that really nobody knows who's going to win or lose on that.
But now you said it's not a presidential year, so we don't expect a big turnout. This is when we really should see a big turnout because this determines who runs the city of Hazleton.
Oh, there's no question about it. We talk about it all the time. I mean, these are real important issues on a local level where you really can make changes. You know, we go out to vote, you get close to 50% vote for presidential elections, which, don't get me wrong, it's very important. It's good to see that. But local elections, people don't care much. But when they see their taxes go up or they see controversy in local, what goes on with hiring of friends, that's when people get upset. And this is a way to go make changes, to go out and vote. So, you know, we always say don't complain if you don't go out and vote.
All right, so the city of Hazleton has that all-important council race. You will be voting for 3 out of the 6. There are 3 Republicans and 3 Democrats running. On the Hazleton area school board, another important race, however, because they could cross-file, we're kind of assuming that race is almost determined, but anything can happen on election day.
Yeah, it's not that exciting. Usually school board races have been exciting. A lot of people will get out there, and with this race in the general, there are 4 seats open and there are 5 people. And really, when you broke down the election in the primary, you have Dr. Childs who won on one side, and you have Van Hoekelen who won. And so realistically, it's really between those two fighting out for that 4th position. But with that said, that's not set in stone. There's been controversy with the school board lately. People are upset. It may drive more people out to vote, and that may change some of it. So just because you won on one ticket doesn't mean only one of those people will win and one will lose. But for the most part, the other people who ran and won on both tickets, the Cosmo and Mahalik and some of the others, I mean, they have a better, Ed Szymanski, they have a better chance of winning because they won on both tickets.
All right, so we'll see how that plays out that night as well. You yourself, you're also a former Hazleton area school board member, but you served on county council, so you're watching that as well because there are 10 people vying for 5 seats on there. One candidate from Lower Luzerne County.
Yeah, well, again, talking about home rule and new government, this is still in its early stage. It's very important to get good council members on here, and I think there are a lot of very good council candidates who could really change the way that council looks. There are 10 people for 5 seats. People down here always talk about local representation. There is one person from our area, Chris Perry, who's been a longtime resident and grew up here, is running. And so it's important to pay attention to that. Important if you want representation, and as we always talk about, you vote for that. But again, not to just talk about Chris Perry, there are other good candidates that are out there, and you vote for a team. You vote for the best people based off their credentials and everything else. And so it's important for the county, and it's important for the area.
Absolutely. Another county race that will be important, that for county controller.
Yeah, again, under the home rule, there's only really two row offices that are still out there where people vote. One is the DA's office and the other is the controller. And in this race, you have the incumbent Michelle Bednar, who's a Democrat, running against Walter Griffith, who has been a former controller who left his seat because of some controversy, and he's putting his hat back in the ring after 4 years that he wasn't allowed to run. So certainly that'll be an interesting race itself in seeing how that turns out.
All right, so there's going to be a lot happening on election night, but the most important factor is for you to get out to the polls. We will be here on election night. You will be part of the team starting at 8 o'clock on Tuesday night. Are you excited?
I'm excited as always. I hope the people are excited. They should be.
All right, so tune in Tuesday night at 8 o'clock right here on SSPTV News. Rick will be part of our entire panel that will bring you the very latest on this year's election.